Everyone, welcome to another edition of the High School Insider. I'm John Sears with Channel 13 Sports, joined by John Naughton and Andy Hamilton of the Des Moines Register. Going to recap some football from last week, big week one, and look ahead towards week two. Andy, we'll start with you. You were at Valley Waukee last Friday. The Tigers in game one and then in the beginning of the Waukee game got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they finally showed maybe why they're the number one team in the state.
Yeah, they trailed 7-3 at the end of the first quarter against Waukee, and then things really turned in the second quarter. In a 10-minute stretch, Valley scored 6 touchdowns with an interception return and 5 drives that started inside the Waukee 20. Waukee's defense really didn't have much of a chance with the field position that special teams and defense gave Valley's offense, but. Yeah, Valley showed in a spurt there why they're the number one team in the state. Very explosive in all 3 phases the other night, and showed they can move the ball in on the ground, in the air, and they were spectacular in the return game too.
We'll get back to them in just a minute, John. Flipping over to East and Ames, kind of a cool game. East, not sure whether they'd have their jerseys. They got them Thursday night. They looked really good, and this game did not lack the offense.
No, it was showtime, I guess, at Williams Stadium. The East kids came out. They'd just gotten their uniforms, replacement uniforms, the day before the game. So if you can imagine the pressure of whether or not they're going to come out saying East or
Ranthers, Arizona State.
This space for rent, you know. But anyway, East came out really with a powerful offense, but so did Ames, and it was like a basketball game. Ames 63, East 47. Jeez. Just 2 quarterbacks passing for more than 300 yards. Sam Straub from Ames threw for 5 touchdown passes. Xavier James from East High ran for 2, passed for 3. So really a lot of back and forth, and probably a few people scratching their heads wondering if anybody's going to play defense this year.
It seemed like in that game, I was there, that turnovers really killed East early on. They had like they threw 3 interceptions, I want to say, within the first quarter and a half. This week, they take on North in a rivalry game.
Yes, this is a game that is the oldest one in the state of Iowa. It's one of the oldest ones in the country. These two teams have been playing for more than a century every year. It's a continuous rivalry that's outlasted world wars, depressions,
forever.
Everything. So, North will be a team that will bring a lot of speed as well to the field. And so I'm not sure if we're going to see 110 points this week, but could be an interesting game.
110 points always makes my job a little easier in getting highlights back to the station. Don't have to wait too long to get those touchdowns. Andy, a big one this Friday. Arguably the biggest rivalry in the entire state, Valley against Dowling. Dowling's 2-0, Valley's 2-0. Dowling's looked really good in their wins over 2 top 10 teams. It was Johnston and then Southeast Polk. Valley looked really good, as you mentioned, against Waukee. What do you see in this matchup, number 1 versus number 5?
I think it's going to be interesting to see the young quarterbacks, the guys that are first-year starters. Ryan Boyle for Dowling Catholic threw for 266 yards the other night against Southeast Polk. He's played really well early. Tanner Stein from Valley threw for 4 touchdowns the other night. He gives them a little bit of a dimension they didn't have a year ago. I'm fascinated to see those 2 guys in their first real big game of that magnitude, the first rivalry game, and see how they perform against the defenses from the other side, which have played pretty well to this point this year.
Talk about a tough first 4-game stretch for Dowling. Johnston, Southeast Polk, Valley. Oh, by the way, they have Ankeny next week. That's about as tough as a 4-game stretch as you'll find here in the state of Iowa.
Yeah, it's right up there. I mean, Southeast Polk, the schedule they play is pretty comparable as well. I think that's one of the things that we're going to see early in the season now that they've gone to divisional football and in 4A is a lot of the top programs aren't afraid to schedule each other and find out where they're at early in the year. I think it's created an element that hasn't always been there in the past. We've seen a lot of blowouts with those programs in particular early in the year in the last few years, and now we're seeing state semifinal caliber games early in the year, just about every week.
John, real quick before we go, big small school game, Des Moines Christian. They upset Madrid last week. Now they got Woodward Granger. That could be a good one.
That's right. I mean, it was the most surprising score of Friday night was when that score came in, Des Moines Christian 21, Madrid 14. It's definitely the biggest win in the history of Des Moines Christian for football, and perhaps for even for all sports.
Yeah,
So
Madrid was ranked 3rd.
yeah, Madrid, you know, a powerhouse. They're known as this unstoppable wishbone running machine, and they're held to 14 points. So huge win by Des Moines Christian. Woodward Granger, though, playoff team. They lost once last year. They're unbeaten going into this game, so it could be a real showdown.
Andy, John, thanks a lot. Andy Hamilton, John Naughton, I'm John Sears. See you next week on the High School Insider.